Hey, what's up everyone? So in today's video, we're gonna be going behind the scenes of one of my latest videos and kind of show you how I shot the making of this epoxy skateboard. So if you haven't seen the video yet of this epoxy skateboard build, I'll put the link right there so you can go watch that first. But yeah, my friend Jackie is a woodworker and she made this epoxy skateboard. I mean, check this out. You can actually see right through it. So I kind of want to talk you through kind of how I shot it and how I lit that video. So the first thing I did when I saw the space that we were going to be working in is I kind of figured out where the light was going to come from naturally. And there were a few windows in that space. And so I didn't want to do anything too elaborate. And so basically I just kind of mimicked that window light. And so what I did was I brought my trusty Godox ML60, which is what's lighting me right now, and just a really simple 5-in-1 reflector. And I used the diffusion of this to soften that light. The only other light that I pulled out just for an edge light every once in a while was my trusty Luxio wand light. So essentially I wanted to mimic the light that was coming through that window, but have it be a much more controlled and softer source. And one thing that you can do in filmmaking to kind of give your shot a little bit of dimension is always shoot on the other side of the light. So typically it's called backlighting. So I was always kind of shooting into the light as we shot this project. So real quick, I do want to thank the sponsor of today's video, which is Skillshare. Skillshare is an online learning community for creative and curious people. Whether it's photography, video, design, Skillshare has thousands of inspiring classes that'll help you gain more knowledge on whatever subject you're interested in. Skillshare is curated specifically for learning, so you'll never have to deal with any annoying ads. A Skillshare class I took recently is Filmmaking for All, Tell a Story Through Video by Dan Mace. In this class, Dan teaches you how to effectively create engaging videos through storytelling. This class really reminded me that stories can be found and told in any niche, even the camera tutorial space that I find myself in. The really cool thing is that the first 1,000 of my subscribers, click the link in the description below, are going to get a 1-month free trial of Skillshare. So definitely don't sleep on this. Go to the description and get yourself that 1-month free trial. Once again, big thanks to Skillshare for sponsoring this video. The camera that I used is my trusty EM1 Mark II, which is what I'm shooting this talking head sequence on. And for lenses, I shot a good majority of it on my trusty Olympus 12-40 f2.8 Pro and my little DJI 15mm f1.7. So making an epoxy skateboard like this is actually a pretty long process. And so we actually had to shoot this over the course of 2 days. One thing that I had contemplated doing was adding a little bit of haze to the workshop by using some haze in a can or some aerosol, but honestly there was so much sawdust and just dust particles all over the air in that workshop that I really didn't feel like adding haze would really be necessary. In hindsight now, I kind of wish that I had a fogger or something like that I could have, like hazed the room up a little bit with, but I actually still think that it turned out looking pretty good. I shot everything handheld with the EM1 Mark II. I think one of the biggest challenges with this video was actually coming to the editing process, because filming it was super fun and I was really liking the shots that I was getting, but trying to cut down a very long project to something that was easily watchable, it took a lot of getting rid of shots that I actually think look kind of cool. So I shot the majority of this video at 4K at 24 frames per second with some 1080-60 thrown in there for some of the slow-mo shots. And one thing that I did that I wasn't actually planning on doing, but just decided to at the last minute, was I shot everything in OM Log 400. Now, typically I don't like using OM Log 400 because I don't think that I'm that good at shooting with it yet. I haven't really figured out the right formula to get that log profile to look good, but I'm kind of glad that I did, because it gave me an opportunity to spend more time in DaVinci and kind of create a LUT that would look really good for this project. So that's what I did. I took some of the OM Log 400 stuff and I graded it in DaVinci. The only thing that I'm still not super stoked on with this EM1 Mark II is just the 1080 video quality. I still think that it just falls apart too quickly and I wish that it looked a little bit better. I mean, the all eye stuff, in my opinion, doesn't actually look look that good. And so I actually shot in the IPB codec at like 52 megabits per second, as opposed to shooting in all-I, because the all-I stuff, just you lose so much detail, and that just doesn't make sense to me, because I thought that the all-I codec should be better, but it's just not, and I don't understand why. The one thing that I added to my kit, which I think really helped give it a little bit more of an organic feel and not so much of a digitally sharp look, was I used the Tiff Glimmer Glass 1 filter, and that just kind of helped give it a little bit more texture to the shot, and I just think adds a little something to the video that I really like. So this is a first in what I hope to be a much bigger series of videos that I do, where I create stuff with local artists or small businesses or musicians, and I use the budget gear that I talk about so much. And if you would like to check out some of Jackie's work and even purchase one of these skateboards, I'm going to have a link to her Etsy shop in the description below. She is really good at what she does, and she makes some pretty incredible looking pieces. I will say that these boards are kind of more for show than I would say they are for riding. I don't think that I'm going to be doing any kickflips on this anytime soon, but man, this is definitely going to be something that's going to live in my office. Anyways, I hope that you enjoyed this little behind the scenes video. It was super fun making that project, and if you'd like to check out some more of my videos, you can click on either side of my face. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you all next time. Later.